Taryn walked home from the repair shop, his hands still smelling faintly of machine oil. The sky above was a soft orange, fading into a darker blue. It had been a long day, but nothing unusual. Right. He liked his quiet routine, fix things, return home, eat simple food, and read in silence. He wasn't a man who looked for excitement. In fact, he avoided it. He didn't go to big cities, didn't use social media much. He lived in a small town where everyone knew everyone. That's how he liked it. But that day, something different happened. As he walked past the old bus, stationed near the edge of town, Taryn noticed something strange in the air. The wind stopped. Birds that were chirping went silent. A soft hum filled the space like a song played from far away. Then a light appeared. It wasn't like sunlight. It wasn't from any street lamp. It was silver blue, and it shimmered like water in the air. It formed a circle, hovering 2 feet above the ground. People nearby stopped and stared. Some pulled out their phones to record. Taryn stood still, unsure what to do. The circle pulsed. Then something stepped through. She was taller than any person he'd ever seen. Her skin was smooth like glass, with a soft silver glow. Her hair flowed like silk, deep purple in color, and her eyes were the color of the moon. She wore a long cloak with glowing patterns, and her boots made no sound on the ground. Everyone around took a step back, but she walked straight toward Taryn. He blinked, confused. He looked behind him to see if she was heading toward someone else. But no, her eyes were fixed on him. She stopped just a few feet in front of him then. Slowly she dropped to one knee. People gasped. Phones clicked. Taryn could hear whispers and questions. She raised her head and spoke in a calm, melodic voice. "You are my chosen mate," she said. Taryn's heart skipped. "What?" he asked softly, looking around, hoping someone would explain what was happening. The woman stood. "Do not be afraid," she said, this time through a soft translator box at her collar. "I have come from Virilia. My Mark chose you." Mark, Taryn repeated. Mate. He felt heat rise in his face. He wasn't sure if he should laugh or run. He had never even dated much. He didn't think of himself as special. "Yes," she said gently. "When I passed through the selection gate, your energy appeared on my mark. It led me here. You are the one I must find." A boy nearby whispered to his friend, "Is this like a movie?" Taryn shook his head. This must be some mistake. "I fix machines. I'm no one important." She looked at him with steady eyes. "Your soul carries balance and strength. My world needs that. I need that." Taryn rubbed the back of his neck. His day had gone from normal to strange in just minutes. The town mayor, Mr. Jarrell, stepped forward cautiously. "Ma'am, or whatever you are, this is a quiet town. We don't usually have visitors from ... space." She nodded respectfully. "I mean no harm. I come in peace. My name is Selah." The mayor looked at Taryn, confused. "Do you know her?" Taryn shrugged. "This is the first time I've seen her, yet you are chosen," Selah said softly. A small crowd gathered. Some people smiled. Others looked nervous. One woman whispered, "Is this real? Is she an alien? Why him?" Selah touched a device on her wrist. A soft light scanned the area. Then she looked back at Taryn. "I can explain, but not here. Your people seem uncomfortable." Taryn gave a small laugh. "Yeah, you could say that." He looked at her more closely now. She was clearly from another world. She didn't seem dangerous. Her eyes were kind, her posture respectful. Not like someone forcing anything, she seemed. Sincere, he took a breath. "All right, you can come with me. My place is quiet." She smiled gently. "Thank you," the mayor blinked. "You're just taking her home?" Tara nodded. "I think she came a long way. It's the least I can do." With that, Taryn walked with Selah down the street. People stepped aside, still recording with their phones. The news would spread fast. But Taryn didn't care right now. He had more questions than answers. "Why me?" he asked as they walked. "Because your energy called to mine," she said. "That doesn't explain much." She paused. "Ain't will." Soon, they reached his small home at the edge of town. Taryn opened the door and let her in. She looked around curiously, touching books, observing machines, smelling herbs on the windowsill. "This is warm," she said. Comforting, Taryn poured her a glass of water. She held the cup carefully, almost like it was a treasure. Then she said, "May I show you something?" He nodded. She touched the mark on her arm. It glowed. A soft light filled the room. Shape appeared in the air, a spiral with 2 glowing dots, slowly spinning. "This is the bond sign. It appeared when I stepped through the portal. One of the lights is me. The other, ... is you." Taryn stared at it. He didn't know what to say. "I don't expect you to believe everything now," Selah said. "But I was told to trust the mark, and I do." He sat down, slowly. "This is a lot." "I know," she said. "But I will not force anything. I only wish to stay and understand, and maybe be understood." For the first time that day, Taryn smiled. Taryn sat on the edge of the couch, while Selah explored the room like a curious traveler. His house was small, only 2 rooms, a kitchen, and a small garden outside. It wasn't much, but it was home to him. For someone from another world, Selah didn't seem bothered by the size or the simplicity. She bent down near a shelf and picked up an old tool. "What is this?" she asked. "A soldering iron," Taryn replied. "I use it to fix wires." She turned it gently in her hand as if it were a piece of art. "We have tools too, but most are controlled by thought or sound." "That sounds advanced," Taryn said. "We still use our hands for most things." She placed the tool back carefully. "I like that. It feels honest." Taryn wasn't sure how to respond. Everything she said felt strange and familiar at the same time. She looked like a being from the stars. "Okay." But she spoke with the softness of someone who had known quiet places. He cleared his throat. "So, you said you're from Varelia?" "Yes," she nodded. "My planet is far from here. Your kind cannot reach it yet, but we have been watching Earth for many years." "Watching? Like spying?" She gave a soft smile. "No, more like observing. We believe every world holds something unique. Yours holds kindness, balance, emotion. These are rare things." Taryn rubbed his hands together. "Most people don't think Earth is all that kind." "Then they don't see what I see," she said simply. He looked at her again. She was calm, graceful, and spoke with care. Not like someone trying to impress. More like someone who really believed what she said. "Why me?" he asked again. "I'm just a guy who fixes machines. I don't even talk to many people." She sat across from him now. "Do you know what the soul mark is?" He shook his head. She touched her wrist, and the mark there glowed faintly. "Every few cycles, some of us are chosen to find our match. The soul mark appears and leads us. Not by maps or voices, but through energy. It still doesn't." "Explain how you found me." She looked at him deeply. "Because when I crossed the gate, your energy called to mine. Like music that matches its pair. I didn't know your name, didn't know your face. But when I stepped into your world, I knew." Taryn looked away for a second. "It all sounded like something from a dream or a storybook." "And this happens often? Your people just find someone on other planets and call them their mate?" She shook her head slowly. "No, this has only happened once in our history. Until now." His eyebrows rose. "So I'm the second." "Yes. Well, no pressure," he muttered under his breath. Selah smiled again. "I don't expect you to accept everything right away. I only ask for your patience. Let us spend time. Let us learn." Taryn nodded, unsure but willing. She looked out the window. "Your sky is different from mine. Stars here feel closer." He followed her gaze. The stars were just dots in the dark, but now, with her words, they seemed brighter, closer. They sat in silence for a while. Finally, Taryn stood up. "You hungry, I mean? Do you eat?" "I do," she replied. "But only some earth food will work for me." He walked to the kitchen. "I've got rice, vegetables, bread, ... nothing fancy." "Bread sounds nice," she said. He toasted a few slices and gave her one. She sniffed it first, then took a bite. Her eyes lit up. Warm, soft. I like this. Taryn laughed. Welcome to Earth. We eat a lot of that. After the simple meal, she asked if she could stay the night nearby. I don't need sleep the way you do, she explained. But resting my body helps. Me adjust to your planet's air and energy, he thought for a moment. You can use the guest room? It's not much, but it's quiet. That would be kind. Thank you. She walked into the small room and paused at the doorway. May I ask one more thing? Sure. Tomorrow, can we walk around your town? I want to see where you live, where you think, where you feel. Taryn nodded slowly. Yeah, we can do that. With that, Sayla closed the door gently behind. Her Taryn sat back on the couch, staring at the ceiling. The house felt different now. Not bad. Just changed. He'd lived alone for years. Now, in one day, an alien woman had appeared, called him her mate, and was now sleeping in his guest room. It was crazy, but somehow it didn't feel wrong. He thought about her eyes, calm and deep, her voice soft but certain. She hadn't forced anything on him. She just showed up and listened. Taryn didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but for the first time in a long time he was curious. Maybe curiosity was the first step to something greater. The sun rose slowly over the small town, painting the sky with soft gold and orange. Birds chirped outside Taryn's window as a breeze moved through the trees. Normally, Taryn would wake up and go about his day, quietly make tea, watered his plants, check his repair schedule. But today was different. There was an alien guest in his house. He stood by the kitchen, making tea, his mind still trying to understand everything that had happened. Just yesterday, he was walking home from work. Now, someone from another world was in his guest room, someone who called him her chosen mate. The door opened softly, and Sayla stepped into the kitchen. Her silver skin shimmered in the morning light. She wore a smooth, flowing garment that looked like it was made of light fabric, but strong. It moved with her like water. Good morning, she said, bowing her head slightly. Morning, Taryn replied. He handed her a warm cup. Tea, earth style. She took it carefully, then smelled it. Warm and calming, she said. Like the breeze on my home planet during rest hour. But Taryn smiled. So, you sleep standing up or lying down? Lying down just like you, she said with a soft laugh. Some stories say aliens hang from ceilings, yes? Yeah, some movies do, he chuckled. After breakfast, they stepped outside. The town was starting to wake up. A few neighbors peeked out from windows, clearly curious. No one said anything, but everyone was watching. Some people waved shyly. Sayla returned every wave with a graceful nod as they walked past the bakery. The smell of fresh bread filled the air. Taryn looked at her. You still thinking about that bread from last night? Yes, she said. It made me feel... human. They walked to a quiet park at the edge of town. Taryn often came here to think. There was a bench under an old tree where he would sit and read. Sayla sat beside him. For a moment, they just listened to the leaves moving. Then she turned to him. Taryn, she said gently, there is something important I must ask you today. He looked at her, cautious. What is it? I must perform the soul test. She said it is the only way to be sure our bond is real. Taryn blinked. Test? What kind of test? It is peaceful, she assured him. It connects our minds for a few seconds. You will see parts of my life. I will see yours.
Nice.
Only. Memories you are ready to share will appear. Taryn hesitated. The idea of someone looking inside his mind made him nervous. His life was private. He had grown up alone, worked quietly, stayed away from crowds. What if I don't like what you see? He asked. Then I will understand you better, she said. And maybe you will understand me. Taryn looked at her eyes. They were calm and kind. She wasn't pushing him. She was simply offering. He nodded. All right, let's do it. Sayla stood and held out her hand. We must be touching for the test. He took her hand. It was warm and steady. She closed her eyes. Her soul mark began to glow. A soft light surrounded them like mist, but without moisture. Terran felt a gentle pull, not on his body, but on something inside him. Then everything around him faded. Suddenly he was no longer sitting in the park. He was standing in a strange play stall. Towers of glass and light rose into the sky. The ground beneath his feet was smooth and silver, and the sky was violet. He saw Sayla, but younger, training with others in glowing suits. She was fast, focused, and serious, but her eyes looked tired, like something was missing. Then a new scene. Sayla stood alone in a quiet chamber, looking out at a field of stars. Her hand was over her heart. She was whispering something, though no sound came through. Ah. He saw her close her eyes, and a tear fell down her cheek. Terran understood. She felt alone. Even in a world full of people. Then the light shifted. Now Sayla was seeing his memories. She saw Terran as a boy, sitting alone in a schoolyard while others played. He was building something with wires and a battery. His hands were dirty, but he smiled when it lit up. Another memory, teenage Taran sitting in a quiet room, reading while others danced at a school party. He looked content, but distant. Last memory. Terran standing on a rooftop, watching the sunset, his eyes calm but sad. He had no one to share the moment with. Then the light faded. They were back in the park. Terran let go of her hand slowly. He looked at her. Sayla's eyes were moist. "You are quiet, but deep," she said. "You have known solitude. But you carry peace inside you. And you felt alone," Terran said softly. "Even among your own kind." She nodded. "Yes, I was trained for leadership, not for love. But I never wanted power. I only wanted someone who would see me. Not my title." Terran looked at the grass. "That's what I've always wanted too." The moment was still. Then Sayla touched her wrist. The soul mark glowed bright and steady. "It is confirmed," she said. "The bond is true." Taran let out a slow breath. Didn't know what to say. "You don't have to decide anything now," Sayla said. "But I am here, and I will wait." He nodded. "Thank you for trusting me." "And thank you," she replied, "for letting me see your truth." As they stood, a soft breeze moved through the trees. For the first time, Terran felt something new, a quiet hope blooming in his chest. Maybe this wasn't just strange anymore. Maybe it was the beginning of something real. For the next few days, Terran and Sayla stayed mostly in the quiet edges of town. They took walks, shared stories, and tried to understand each other's worlds. Sayla asked about human traditions, foods, and festivals. Terran showed her his tools, his favorite tree in the park, and even let her help fix an old coffee machine. The more they talked, the more natural it began to feel. Terran still didn't have all the answers, and sometimes he still wondered if this was just a strange dream. But Sayla never rushed him. She was patient, gentle, and always respectful of his space. One morning, as they sat by a small lake just outside town, a low hum filled the air. Sayla stood up instantly. Her body became still, alert. "They're here," she said. "Who?" Terran asked. Sa touched her wrist, and a holographic symbol appeared in the air glowing. Blue rings spinning around a silver line. "The council envoys," she said. "They've come to observe our bond." "Wait," Terran said. "You mean from your planet?" "Yes, from Varelia's High Council. They oversee soulmark matches, especially when one is different. Like ours." Before Terran could reply, a beam of light shimmered in the clearing nearby. Then 3 figures stepped out. They were tall like Sayla, wearing elegant robes that sparkled faintly in the sunlight. Their faces were calm, but serious. One of them, a man with golden lines across his cheek, stepped forward. "Sayla of House Virel," he said. "You have called the bond." "I have," she replied. "And this is the human?" he asked, looking at Terran with sharp eyes. "I'm Terran," he said, trying to sound calm. The other 2 envoys looked at each other, then back at Sayla. "This bond cannot be accepted without review," the golden-cheeked man said. You know the rules. I do, she said, but the bond is real. The soul test confirmed it. Even so, the woman beside him added, a bond with a human is unprecedented. Earth is still in early development. Your council must consider the risks. Terran took a small step back, feeling suddenly small under their eyes. He didn't know much about their politics, but it was clear they didn't want this connection to happen. Why is it such a problem? He asked quietly. The third envoy spoke this time, an older being with a voice like soft wind. It's because Varelian bonds shape future paths. Your kind is not ready for interworld unions. It may cause imbalanced confusion. Curiosity, yes, but also fear. Sayla stepped forward. He has shown strength, calm, kindness. That is why the soul mark chose him. He may have these traits, the first envoy said, but he is not Varelian. He has no training, no legacy. What gives him the right to share a bond meant for future leaders? There was silence for a moment, then Terran spoke not loud, not angry, just firm. I didn't ask for this, but I didn't run away from it either. The envoys turned to him. I'm not a hero or a scientist, he said. I fix machines, I live quietly. But when Sayla came to me, I listened. I didn't laugh. I didn't close the door. I gave her a place to rest, to speak. If that isn't enough, tell me what is. Sayla looked at him with warmth in her eyes. The envoys exchanged glances. Finally, the older one nodded slowly. Then he may take the peace path. The what? Terran asked. A test, the woman said. It's not of power or battle, but of heart, mind, and spirit. We will see if your choices reflect the soul, Sayla claims. Adine looked at Sayla. She nodded gently. You don't have to do it, she said softly. The bond is real, even if others cannot see it. Terran took a breath. No. If this test helps others understand, I'll do it. The envoy stepped back. Then prepare, the Golden One said. We will return at first light. With another shimmer of light, they vanished. Terran sat back down on the grass, exhaling. Well, that was intense, he said. Esat sat beside him. You were brave. It was nervous, he admitted. That's what made it real, she said. He looked at the lake, his reflection rippling gently in the water. What kind of test do you think they'll give me? I don't know, she said honestly. But Varelians do not test with traps or tricks. They seek truth. Your heart is enough. Let's hope so, he said with a small smile. As the sun lowered in the sky, birds flew quietly overhead. Tareen didn't know what tomorrow would bring. But he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Purpose. Maybe Earth wasn't ready, but maybe he was. The next morning, the sky was still pale when Tareen woke up. He looked out the window. Soft mist hung over the ground, and the town was quiet. Birds were just beginning to sing. Today was not going to be an ordinary day. He dressed slowly and stepped outside. Sayla was already waiting in the garden, standing near the flowers. She turned as he approached, her eyes calm. They will come soon, she said. Terran nodded. He felt nervous but not scared. Something had changed inside him. Maybe it was the soul test. Maybe it was Sayla's quiet faith in him. Whatever it was, he felt ready not to prove anything. But to be honest, a soft breeze moved through the trees. Then the shimmering light returned. The three Varelian envoys stepped out once more, dressed in their flowing robes. They carried no weapons, only small glowing crystals at their sides. The older envoy spoke first. Tareen of Earth. Are you prepared to walk the peace path? I am, Terran replied, standing straight. The golden-marked envoy raised a hand. This path will not test your strength or speed. It will test your ability to see, listen, and understand. Terran nodded. Again, the female envoy stepped forward and handed him a small silver disc. This will guide you. She touched her wrist, and a beam of light surrounded Terran. When it faded, found himself in a different place, still Earth, but not the same. It looked like a dream version of his town, familiar buildings, glowing trees, and soft lights. Floating in the air, Sayla was not with him. Neither were the envoys. Only the disc remained in his hand, softly pulsing. Then a voice echoed around him. You will face 3 moments. Each one will show you a path of choice. You must listen. Not react. Understand? Not judge. Only then will your bond be known. Terran took a deep breath and walked forward. The first scene appeared like a moving picture. He saw 2 beings standing in a market, one human, one Varelian. The human was upset, pointing at a broken tool. The Varelian stood quietly, holding her hands up in peace. The disc glowed and spoke. One speaks with frustration. The other remains calm. Who is right? Irene watched. The human blamed the Varelian for selling a faulty machine. But when he looked closer, he saw that the machine had not been used properly. It wasn't the seller's fault. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he said, both are reacting from their own truth. The human is frustrated because he feels cheated. The Varelian is silent because she knows it's not her fault. The disc glowed softly. The scene faded. The second scene began. This time, 2 children, one from Earth, one from Varelia, were playing in a garden. A small argument started. One child wanted to pick flowers. The other said it was wrong. The disc asked again. One wishes beauty. The other wishes protection. Who is right? Taran thought for a moment. They both care, he said. One sees the flowers and wants to share them. The other wants to keep them safe. Neither is wrong. But they must talk, not fight. The children in the vision looked at each other, then sat down together. The disc pulsed again, warmer this time now. The third and final scene. This one felt closer. A person who looked like Tarin stood in a room, speaking to a group of Varelians. He looked unsure. They looked doubtful. The disc spoke again. One feels small. The others do not trust. Can peace still be built? Taran watched himself in the scene. The version of him was quiet, but steady. He didn't try to impress. He just spoke honestly. The others slowly began to listen. Taran nodded to himself. Yes, peace grows when someone listens for Stephen. If their voice is small, the light around him brightened. The dream world faded. When Taran opened his eyes, he was back in his garden. The 3 envoys stood before him. Sayla was by their side now, her eyes full of hope. The golden-marked envoy stepped forward. You answered with thought, with patience. You looked deeper than the surface. The woman nodded. You did not choose sides. You chose to understand. The oldest one looked into his eyes. Then the peace path is complete, and your bond is confirmed. Sayla stepped forward, her expression soft, but glowing with quiet joy. You did not need to fight or prove your power, she said. You simply remained true. Taran smiled slightly. It's all I could do. The envoys gave a respectful bow. Your connection will be recorded in the histories of our people, the elder said. This is the second soul bond between Varelia and another world, and the first with Earth. With a gentle wave of their hands, the envoys shimmered and vanished once again, leaving behind only a gentle breeze. Taran and Sayla stood alone now. So, he said, does this mean I passed the test? Sayla gave a soft laugh. You didn't pass or fail. You walked it. That is what matters. They sat together on the bench under the tree. It's the same place where they had shared tea days ago. You know, Taran said, a week ago I was just fixing old machines and drinking tea alone. And now? She asked. He looked at her, smiled, and said, now I'm sitting with someone from the stars, and it doesn't feel strange anymore. Sayla reached over and gently touched his hand. That is how true bonds begin. Quietly, naturally. They sat for a while in silence. The birds sang again. The sky stretched wide above them. Taran didn't know where this path would lead. Maybe to Varelia, maybe somewhere else. But in this moment, he knew one thing for sure. He wasn't walking alone anymore. Taran's life had changed, but not in the way most people would expect. There were no loud celebrations, no breaking news every hour, no cameras flashing in his face. Yes, some reporters came in the early days. They waited outside his house, trying to get a picture of the tall, silver-skinned woman who had called him her chosen mate. But after a few quiet days they left, realizing there wasn't a story, full of drama or mystery, just to people getting to know each other. And so, life settled into something new but peaceful. Taryn and Sayla spent their days walking through the town, helping where they could. Sayla offered ideas to the local school, teaching young children about stars and other planets. Her voice, soft but clear, held their attention in a way few teachers ever could. Taryn returned to his workshop, fixing radios, coffee machines, and fans. Sayla sat nearby sometimes, asking questions about each tool. She said Earth's machines were simple, but full of character, like drawings made with feeling. One afternoon, while Taryn repaired a broken toaster, Sayla sat across from him, turning over a screwdriver in her hand. "You know," she said on Virelia, "no one uses tools like this anymore. Everything is done with energy controller shaped." Thought Taryn laughed. "Then you'd probably find my whole shop ancient." She smiled. "Maybe, but I like it. There's beauty in how you fix things with your hands." He looked up from the toaster. "I think there's beauty in how you see things." They both smiled. The moment stretched between them like a quiet melody, but their calm days did not go unnoticed. One evening, the sun dipped below the hills. A soft light shimmered again near the town center. It was not the council. This time, it was someone else. The figure that stepped out was taller than Sayla, dressed in long robes with golden edges. Her face was calm, but her presence felt heavier, like someone used to being obeyed. Sayla's posture straightened at once. "High Speaker Illyra." Taryn stood beside her. "Someone important, I'm guessing?" "Yes," Sayla said. "Is the voice of the Korra leader among our kind." Illyra's voice was steady and clear. "You walk a rare path, Sayla Varel. And you, Taryn of Earth, have stepped into history." Taryn simply nodded. "I didn't mean to. I was just walking home one day." Illyra gave the smallest smile. "Many important stories begin that way." She looked at Sayla. "You are certain of this bond?" "I am," Sayla replied, without hesitation. "And you, human?" Illyra asked. "Do you accept this bond freely?"
No.
"Knowing it ties you not only to her, but to the peace between two worlds?" Taryn paused for a moment. He thought about the quiet mornings, the long walks, the way Sayla never tried to change him, but always wanted to understand him. He thought about the way his life had felt before she came, calm but empty. "I do," he said softly. Illyra nodded. "Then the bond is now honored by the core. You may remain here, or come with her to Virelia. The choice is yours." Taryn blinked. "Wait, I can visit your world if you wish," Sayla said. "There are ways. They will take time, but they exist." He looked at the garden, then at her. "And if I don't want to leave Earth yet, then I will stay," she said. "Where you are, I choose to be." Illyra stepped back. "Then our work is done. May your bond guide others." She disappeared in a shimmer of soft gold light. After she left, Taryn sat on the porch, staring at the stars. "So, I'm bonded to someone from another planet," he said, almost laughing. Sayla sat beside him. "Yes, and the leaders of your people just gave us their blessing." "Yes. And I still don't know how to cook anything beyond noodles and toast." She laughed gently. "Then I will learn with you." Taryn leaned back, folding his arms behind his head. "It's strange. I thought the world would feel too big with you in it, but now it feels like it finally fits." Sayla didn't speak. She simply reached for his hand and held it in silence. In the days that followed, they created a small space between their two worlds. People from town became used to seeing Sayla around, sharing stories at the library, watching the sky with children, even helping fix broken things at Taryn's workshop. No one treated her like a stranger anymore. She had become part of the town, just like Taryn. One day, a local elder approached Taryn while he was repairing a clock. "You've changed, boy," the old man said. Taryn looked up. "How so?" "You walk slower, smile more, speak with weight."
Taryn
Nodded. "Maybe I just stopped being alone." The elder smiled. "It's always a good change." At night, Taryn and Sayla sat outside, wrapped in blankets, watching the stars. "Do you miss your world?" he asked one night. Sometimes, she admitted. The skies, the voices, the way the stars curve. Then why stay? 'Cause no star in my sky ever looked at me the way you do. Taryn turned to her, his heart quiet and full. I used to think I wasn't meant for anything big, he said. No fame, no adventure, just small things. Small things shape big things, Selah replied. A quiet bond can change galaxies. They sat together, the stars blinking above them, and, in that still moment, two worlds so different and so far apart felt like one. The days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months. Taryn and Selah had grown close like two rivers joining into one gentle stream. Their bond was no longer just a strange promise from a distant world. It was a real living connection. Taryn had learned to understand parts of Selah's language and culture. Selah, in turn, learned the simple joys of Earth's fresh bread. Rain on a window, the laughter of children playing outside. One clear evening, as the sky turned pink and purple, they sat on the hill, overlooking the town. The air was warm, filled with the scent of wildflowers. Selah looked at Taryn and smiled. Do you remember the day I first came to you? He nodded, a soft laugh escaping him. How could I forget? You dropped to one knee like a queen from the stars. She laughed with him. I was nervous. I had never done this before. You made it easy, he said, even when I didn't understand. Selah's eyes grew serious. I want to show you my world. Taryn's breath caught. Are you ready for that? I think I am, she said. But only if you want to come. He hesitated a moment, then nodded. Yes. I want to see where you come from, to learn more, to share more. A few days later, preparations began. Selah contacted her people through a shimmering device. Messages of light and sound passed quickly between her and the distant planet Virelia. The council had agreed to help Taryn travel safely. They would teach him how to breathe the different air, move in the lower gravity, and understand the customs he would meet. Taryn felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. The thought of leaving his quiet town was strange, but with Selah by his side, he felt ready. When the day came, the town gathered quietly to say goodbye. The mayor shook Taryn's hand. You're making history, son. Be careful. Taryn smiled. I will. Selah took his hand, her skin cool but strong. This is not the end, she said softly. It is a new beginning. Together. They stepped into the silver circle, the same kind of light that had brought Selah to Earth. The world shimmered and changed. They arrived on Virelia under a sky full of shining stars and twin moons. The air smelled sweet, like flowers. In fresh rain, Taryn gasped softly at the sight. Tall towers of crystal rose around them, sparkling with colors he had never seen. The streets were quiet, but alive with soft music and glowing plants. Selah smiled. Welcome home. Taryn looked around, his heart full. In the days that followed, Taryn learned about Virelia's history, its people, and its hopes. He saw the great libraries where knowledge was stored in light crystals. He met the young leaders who dreamed of peace between worlds. Most of all, learned that no matter how different a place looked, the feelings inside were much the same. Selah showed him the quiet lakes where her people came to think. They watched the twin moons rise together, casting silver light on the water. One night, as they sat by the lake, Selah took his hand. Our bond is more than a promise, she said. It is a bridge between Earth and Virelia, between past and future. Taryn squeezed her hand. I want to help that bridge grow. Their time on Virelia was full of wonder and learning. But Taryn also noticed something else, quiet hope growing in the people's eyes. They saw in him not just a human, but a symbol of connection and trust. One evening, during a gathering in the Great Hall, the council spoke. You have shown courage and heart, said the High Speaker Alira. This bond between you and Selah is a sign that the universe is bigger than fear. It is built on understanding. Taryn felt a calm strength inside him. He realized that the journey was not just about worlds or stars. It was about people, about kindness, trust, and the courage to accept something new. After several cycles, on Virelia, Taryn and Selah returned to Earth. They came not as strangers, but as a pair connected by something greater than themselves. The town welcomed them with warmth. Children ran up to Selah, eager to hear stories of the twin moons and crystal towers. Adults smiled, grateful for the quiet change she had brought. Taryn went back to his workshop, but now he worked with new purpose. Selah helped him teach others, showing that sometimes the biggest adventures start with simply opening your heart. One quiet evening, the stars twinkled overhead. Selah and Taryn stood together on the hill. Selah looked up at the sky. Our journey has just begun. Taryn smiled. Ready? She reached out and took his hand. No matter where the stars take us, she said, we walk this path together. And under the wide, endless sky, two souls from different worlds found a new home in each other.